Hello. This is my review for Godzilla 1998, directed by Roland Emmerich, starring Matthew Broderick, Hank Azaria, Jean Reno, and Michael Lerner, and Mario Pitalio. Matthew Broderick's the one that stands out to me the most. Obviously, Hank Azaria I know from Simpsons. Jean Reno, I feel like I'm mispronouncing his name. Jean Reno, probably how you pronounce it. He's the French guy in the film who I really liked. Thought he was solid. I thought he was actually one of the best parts of the film, to be honest with you. I'm going to start talking about the story, the plot points. Let's start with the main events. Let's start with the nuclear bomb drop in French Polynesia. Let's talk about let's talk about that. I'll admit I've got a huge soft spot. Like any film, any TV show with a nuclear bomb scene, it just automatically just draws in a part of me, shall we say. There's a part of me that's just automatically right. I'm sold. I'm already there. I'm already wanting to see it, whether it be Indiana Jones or the Kingdom of Crystal Skull, Godzilla, whether it be Batman versus Superman, whether it be Oppenheimer, a few others I could probably name off the top of my head. That Monarch Godzilla show with Kurt Russell that just came out recently. The Godzilla in 2014. I feel like I'm missing one of the big ones here. What's the other really big one? Armageddon, Michael Bay, that nuclear bomb drop at the end of the film, and I feel like there's one other one. I'll remember once I finish filming, no doubt. You see that scene, which I thought was pretty well shot, and then you get the soundtrack in the background, which was good. Those were all positives. I just liked the way it was filmed with the lizards and how it sort of explained it. Then you see Nick, Matthew Broderick, with the worms in Chernobyl. You see the warrior teacher guy. The guy, I feel like I might be getting his name wrong. I think he might be Michael Lerner. I'm not 100% sure on him as a person, even though I know his face. He was in Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. He was in Godzilla 1998. I know his face, but I'm not sure if I think he's Michael Lerner. I think he looks more like a Michael. You see him show up to talk to Nick, to Matthew Broderick. Then he takes Matthew Broderick to the footprint, Godzilla's footprint. Then you see Alexa, stop. Then you see the scene with the boats being pulled under the water. You see that scene was pretty cool. Like they're bringing in the fish nets. They thought they were caught on something, then they end up trying to cut the ropes and they just abandon ship. That was kind of cool. Nick and Audrey. You get that woman who he steals his tape. That was a bit of romance there. Audrey steals his VHS. Then you get the boat. Felipe scene. He's at that boat when it washes up on the shore, and he's asking the colonel, "What do you think could have done this?" And you see a brief interaction between Felipe and Matthew Broderick. And then you see Philippe and the French guys, and they make a few jokes about there's no croissants, the American coffee. You call this coffee and needs more cream or something like that. That was pretty cool. I just like the scenes with them. I thought they were just pleasant scenes to watch. And then we of course get to see which Godzilla attacks New York City once the mayor's given his speech about reducing crime or something like that. Then we've got Felipe. He kidnaps Nick. We've got that scene. We'll go to that scene. I thought that scene was quite good. And that Felipe is showing him all the weapons in their warehouse. He's like, "This is America." I thought that was kind of cool. And he explains to Nick why you should trust me. He's like, "Why the hell should I trust you? You just tried to kidnap me." And he's like, "Because I want exactly what you want. I want to find the nest. I want to clean up this mess. It was my government that did it. I need to protect my I need to protect my country from itself sometimes," or something along those lines. I thought that was pretty cool. Discovering the nest, that was a great scene. I love this. I think this is part of the reason why I think this version of Godzilla is my favourite. This is part of the reason why this version of Godzilla is my favourite. I've seen clips of the 1960s and 1970s ones of the guys in the costume. I rewatched the 2014 Godzilla film, and I'm going to do a review on that shortly. It's most likely going to be a mostly negative review, even though I love the visual effects. And I love the atomic breath scene at the end. But to me, the best thing about the 1998 Godzilla, one of the best things about it is the nest. The monster laying eggs, 200 of them hatching. It's oh man, this could be dangerous for our species. I need to deal with this right now. Nip it in the bud. That obviously then not just that major positive, but the atmosphere of this film to me is much better than the 2014 one, or Godzilla versus Kong. I feel like the atmosphere for this film, whether it be the soundtrack or Roland Emmerich's direction, Matthew Broderick, the French guy, and Audrey, and then cameraman Hank Azaria, who's the cameraman. I think there was a bit of soul to it, much more. There was soul put into it, in my opinion. Then you've got like the Madison Square Garden getting blown up once like they send a message out to the military, discovering that the Godzilla submarine gets blown up. And then he's at the end, and then Hank Azaria turns to the French guy. He's like, "You want to get a coffee?" He said, French guy says to him, "I could use a coffee." I thought that was kind of, I thought it was kind of cool, and I also liked how Hank Azaria says like, "How you doing?" That was quite a strong New York accent he had, which was kind of cool. Audrey quits her job, and then Felipe steals the VHS. That's at the end after the final encounter with Godzilla. You know, baby Godzilla breaks the door. Like of course, the baby Godzilla dying. The Godzilla chase in the taxi scene was kind of cool, even though it was really playing on your suspension of disbelief that they could outrun the Godzilla. But I was like, I was fine with what I was going with. And then Felipe like lashing out at Hank Azaria when they're in the mouth of Godzilla, and like, "Will you shut up already?" That was kind of funny. Godzilla's death on the bridge. I think this is maybe another reason why, to me, I actually prefer this version of Godzilla over the 2014 one. We've had the Godzilla 2014, Godzilla 2019, King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, and then there's Godzilla Kong New Empire, which is coming out later on this year. To me, part of the reason why I think the Godzilla 1998 one is my favourite, not just because of the atmosphere, not just because of the soul that I feel like was put into it with like the supporting characters, and I like those characters more than I've liked some of the other characters. To me, I think it's the fact that Godzilla dies. It's like, it's the end. I mean, it's just like unfortunate. It's terrible. It's a tragic death, and Matthew Broderick almost sympathises with him, even though he on some level must know that it needs to be done. To me, it gives it a sense of finale, and that the story does come to an end. That story comes to an end, but then obviously there's the baby Godzillas and the nest and the final egg hatching and all that, and it's unfortunate this story didn't continue, even though I'll say again, maybe a sense of finale to actually adds to it over the years. I prefer this Godzilla to the other ones. I've only watched clips of the 1960s, 1970s one. I'll need to get around to watching more of them. And I'm wanting to watch Godzilla -1, the most recent one that's just came out. That's meant to be like a remake of like a 1954 one or something like that. I want to say, right, so just overall, I love this version of Godzilla. Felipe was my favourite character. Matthew Broderick comes across as like a truly relatable guy. And I think this is maybe what this Godzilla film also does so brilliantly. When you're watching like Captain America or like Batman, and you're watching Star-Lord, or like you're watching like some like the more recent Terminator. I'm forgetting his name, who the main guy was. Michael J. White, is that? No, that's name Michael J. It's Jai Courtney in Terminator Genesis. There's a feeling of like these guys have got everything under control, and they're like super badass and super suave, and no matter what happens, they can handle it. Whereas Matthew Broderick brought a relatability, and like, he's in a situation he can't really handle, and it just kind of added to him. I suppose that's made him feel a little bit more human, in a sense, instead of a character who's got everything under control and can handle anything and everything that comes at him. Matthew Broderick was just like an average Joe. I like that. I thought that was a positive. I like the other characters; they were fine, with the exception of Audrey's boss. He was kind of annoying. Godzilla was almost a bit of an anti-hero, a bit of like a tragic sort of like a monster that just didn't really know any better, in a sense, you could maybe say. Maybe you could say that, like sort of like a lion. If there was a lion to attack a human, you'd be like, oh, that's terrible, and if you had a lethal weapon on you, you would shoot the lion to protect your loved one. But at the same time, in some sense, you're like, the lion doesn't really know better, in a sense, like it's just a lion, that's part of its nature. The death was seen, as I says. And the final positive I'll talk about, I suppose I've already mentioned the egg hatch and like the sad death scene, but here's the final positive. I love the way in which Felipe walks off love the way Felipe walking off into the horizon was handled. Thought that was just fantastic with a phone call, and Matthew Broderick's like, au revoir, au revoir, I'm pretty sure he says. I thought that was just fantastic. I think it's a great film. I'm probably going to rewatch it again in the future. Not anytime soon, because I've rewatched it a couple of times lately. But pretty great film. I think I'm going to end it there and say this is a film that I've really enjoyed and could definitely see myself rewatching. So I'll end it there. Definitely a positive. Thanks for watching.